So a quick note on server racks. They're divided, they're measured in what's called U's. So these units on the side here, so like 25, from this line to this line is 1 U. So when you're looking at servers or pieces of equipment that would go on a rack, like switches, they're gonna all be measured in how many U's they take up. Right? In this rack, if I look at the very top, I have a 42 U rack. So that's the total number of units I can fit in here. And the other major feature of a rack is how you connect to it. And there are actual screws that are put into these screw holes that are put into these racks, and there are these square cage nut designs. So my preference is always cage nut, because if I screw up a screw, screw up the threads on a screw, I can always pop in a new one. I'll show you how that works here. This is a great way to mangle your fingers. I do it every single time. You just stick this, I don't know if you can see this here, stick this in here, and you could go sideways or you could go up and down. In this cage nut, what it does is it has little ears on it so that it can hang on to that square hole. All right, so what we're gonna do is I like to go side to side. I find that the easiest way to put it in. And there you go. You push a little pressure. Now, typically that doesn't always go in so easy, so I will actually use a flat-headed screwdriver and just give it a little bit of a kick to help it go in. And especially when you're taking them out, it's not always good for your fingers either. So just give it a little kick, and then it falls on the floor and you pick it up. With a flat-headed screwdriver, I find that to be the easiest. And then, as you can see here, you're then going to put the ear of your equipment on in the front of the cage connection here, and then the screw will go through the front ear, through the cage, and then into that cage nut in the back. And that's the proper way to attach to your rack. There are other ways to do it. I've seen people stack it in weird ways, and it may ultimately hold, but it's not going to be the strongest, and it's not the way that it's designed to be connected. The other nice feature about the cage nut design is it is designed for toolless server rails. So a lot of server rails don't require any kind of tool to install. They just pop into place, and there's little levers on them to release after they've been popped in. And so you can do that easily with cage nuts with this square design, where you can't do that as easily or at all with the ones that are just pre-drilled screws. Now, this is what's called a 4-post rack, so that means it has these same connections in the front and in the back. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 posts. Typically a server rack would need 4 posts because of the weight and the size of the servers. A network rack only, a lot of times it's just 2 posts. It's just these front 2, and more typically those are just the screw holes. But even with those, I prefer to always have cage nuts, just so it's a little more flexible.